You grow up learning that warmth is temporary. The stove goes out at night, bread is counted in slices. Adults lower their voices whenever institutions are mentioned. Even as a boy, you understand that the state is not just government. It is weather. It is a hand on the shoulder. It is the wall telling you where your life will probably go. So, when you are old enough to choose a path, it does not feel like choosing at all. A stable wage, a ration card, a room, a uniform. These are not luxuries in your world. They are gravity. You put on the cap and the coat and discover that cloth can change how people look at you. They move aside, they answer faster, they stop asking whether you belong. They do not sell you the job as cruelty. They sell it as order. You are told that criminals and enemies must be controlled. You are told that labor corrects character. You are told that a guard is a serious man, not a brute, a function, a necessary piece of the machine. Then the train takes you far from the city, far enough that the windows fill with snow, forest, and silence. At the end of that journey, you see wire, then towers, then barracks, then the gate. The first time a senior guard drops the key ring into your hand, the weight surprises you. You spend years learning that keys are heavier than they look. The first lesson is counting. Count the men leaving. Count them returning. Count them standing in the yard, shivering under the pale morning sky. Count in the workshop doorway. Count after labor detail. Count at lights out. A wrong number means trouble, and trouble always moves downward before it moves up. So you count until faces stop being faces and become arithmetic. At first, you still notice individuals: the old man whose fingers shake, the one-eyed criminal, the educated posture of a political inmate, the young one who stares too long at the outer fence, as if looking hard enough might become escape. The older guards laugh at you for looking. Do not look, one of them says. Count. That is how the institution trains you. Not with grand speeches, with repetition, with procedures, with the steady reward of detachment, and the steady punishment of softness. You stop hearing names. You start hearing categories. You stop seeing stories. You start seeing risk. And because the job pays, because winter is real, because your own life depends on staying useful, you obey. The colony begins to teach you the most dangerous skill any closed system can teach: how to turn human beings into routine. Everything inside the colony revolves around labor, even after fewer and fewer people truly believe the slogans. The paperwork says work reforms. The wall slogans say labor remakes the soul. The reality is simpler. Labor extracts motion, time, and obedience until not much remains that is private. You escort details to the yard, to the timberline, to the workshops, wherever the administration needs bodies moved. In bad weather, the whole place seems to grind with its teeth clenched. Snow blows sideways. Summer turns the yard into mud. Spring is nothing but a rumor. You begin to realize that guards are trapped too, though never in the same way. Prisoners are held by fences. You are held by livelihood, by routine, by the fact that your next meal depends on not asking too many questions. Some guards become openly brutal. Some become drunks. Some do favors. Some take little gifts and call it practicality. You tell yourself you are different, but the colony is patient. It waits for everyone to bend. The barking dogs stop startling you. The tower shifts become muscle memory. The key ring slaps your thigh like a second heartbeat. Even screams, when they happen, become part of the place's weather. That is the true damage. Not the moment you are shocked, the moment you stop being shocked. People outside imagine a prison guard lives on authority. In truth, you live on compartmentalization. You divide yourself into pieces: the man in uniform, the man at home, the man who follows orders, the man who still remembers the old inmate with a teacher's hands, the man who believes he is decent, the man who knows he has accepted indecent things by omission, by convenience, by obedience. You do not let these pieces touch too often. If they do, the arrangement fails. At home, someone asks how your day was. You answer with one word: normal. That word begins to disgust you, though you keep using it. A punishment report, a fight in the yard, a man coughing blood in a bunk, a youth beaten too hard by a frightened young conscript. All of it becomes normal. There is an unofficial economy in every closed institution. A cigarette, a letter moved at the right moment, better boots, slightly better food, a report that appears or disappears. Nobody explains this system in training because nobody has to. It reveals itself one compromise at a time. You once thought evil would look theatrical. It does not. More often, it looks administrative, quiet, habitual, normal. And in the evenings, when you sit in a kitchen that should feel separate from the colony, you still hear metal doors in your head. Not because you are still there, because some part of you never leaves. What unsettles you most are not the violent moments. It is the ordinary ones. A prisoner smoothing his hair before a family visit, though the mirror is cracked and the effort is hopeless. A confiscated letter folded so many times it feels like cloth. A man in the infirmary apologizing for coughing. Another standing in snow and looking at the sky in the particular way only caged men do. These moments are dangerous because they return personhood to the people your routine asks you to flatten. One evening during count, you meet the eyes of a man you have supervised for years. No conversation, no gesture, just recognition. It passes in seconds. It stays for decades. In that look is accusation, certainly, but also something worse. The reminder that both of you have spent your lives inside the same machinery, only in different compartments. That is when retirement begins to frighten you. As long as the colony structures your day, you do not have to ask what remains underneath your function. But what are you outside the gate? A husband, perhaps. A pensioner, certainly. A man who knows how to distrust silence. A man who spent years guarding bodies and gradually lost the ability to examine his own conscience without pain. The trouble with systems like this is that they do not end at the fence. They continue in habit. Retirement does not free you. It removes the noise. And in the silence, the old sounds return sharper than before. Boots grinding snow, dogs in the dark, the monotony of count, the metallic slap of keys against your hip. You wake at night because some part of your body still believes it forgot to lock something. The country around you changes. Names change, flags change, official truths change, but the drawer still contains your service papers. The wardrobe still holds your old coat. The hands that held the keys are still your hands. If someone asked whether you were a monster, you would say no. If someone asked whether you were innocent, you could not answer at all. That is the true ending of this life. Not a trial, not a confession, not a dramatic reckoning. Only a man sitting by a winter window, understanding far too late that he confused obedience with duty and routine with moral clarity. The colony was built to keep prisoners inside. Years after leaving, you finally understand the darker truth. Some gates swing only one way, and some of them were built inside you.